end of 2.5 days, the team was actually able to deliver the smallest piece and able to demonstrate. Let's make an agreement. Till lunch, if you don't learn anything from me, don't come back. And this team, trust me, they have done in 6 weeks, 12 sprints. Hi, this is JP here from LeanWisdom. Welcome back to the weekend stories. This weekend, I'm going to take you through a story of how can you have a sprint, an iteration of length which is less than a week, right? So I'm sure most of you who have gone through this Scrum guide tells you to keep a sprint as 1 to 4 weeks, right? So let's talk about what is 1 week, what is 4 weeks, and before getting into this story. 4 weeks, in my personal view, is too long, right? So there is something called student syndrome that happens, right? What is the student syndrome? Anything you do for a long time, you tend to do most of the work in the last few days or the nth moment, right? Let's take an example. Somebody who's constructed a house. You would have constructed a house for 6-8 months, and in the last 1 month was when probably most of the work was done, right? That was how you would have seen that. You will see everybody sitting inside, in your house doing the work. There's somebody painting, somebody putting a floor, somebody is fixing electricity cables, and somebody is working on plumbing work. Everybody is in the last 15 days, 1 month. This is a student syndrome. Whoever got engaged and got married after 9 months, after 1 year, after 6 months, right? Engagement, and 6 months later, 9 months later, you got wedding. You would have noticed that last 15 days, 1 month was my maximum amount of work is done. So this is called a student syndrome. Yeah. As a student, whenever you write a final exam after a year is when you start studying. Okay. So the 4-week sprint definitely has a student syndrome. What does it mean? Those who are running a 3 or 4 week sprint, I'm sure you would have noticed this. Last week is actually testing week, defect fix week. So a lot of work happens. Most of the stories get completed. This is a problem with a student syndrome, and this is how human behave, right? Human act to a situation. So 4 weeks is not a good time. Personally, for me, 2 weeks is also not a good time. So I was kind of convinced a 2 week sprint, a 2 week iteration is a good time, right? Good duration, good cadence for you to execute. Until I went to this company and experienced something called Agile Dojo, right? I went as a consultant, right? Every time I go as a consultant, I get to learn something very good from each company, right? Tons of things. That's the beauty of consulting job, right? You get paid for your learning as well, right? So this company is a US-based company, and there are quite a few coaches in India and then coaches in US and so on. So we used to collaborate very often. And I understood from one of the very senior leaders that, hey, we want to do Agile Dojo. What does Dojo means? Dojo means a learning space, right? Okay, what is Agile Dojo? If somebody wants to learn about Agile, any topics in Agile, right? It can be very basic Scrum, it can be DevOps, it can be CI/CD pipeline, it can be any technical agility learning, for example, pair programming, right? Mob programming, or or automation, right? Unit test automation, anything, right? You can come to Agile Dojo as a team, stay for 1.5 months, and go out with that learning. Right? While you do your work, you will also learn this particular thing. So we will create a backlog for that 1.5 months for this particular topic that the team picks. For example, a team picks saying that, hey, we know Agile, we have been doing Scrum, but somehow our implementation is not that great. We want to learn Scrum thoroughly. Okay, come in, you stay with us for 1.5 months. Now, what does it mean, right? So we have put these teams in 2.5 day sprints. Right? When you say 2.5 day sprints, it's a sprint starts on Monday morning, it ends on Wednesday noon. Right? Second sprint starts on Wednesday afternoon, it goes till Friday evening. Monday to Wednesday afternoon till Friday evening. 2 sprints are done in a week. Right? First time when I heard this, I said, "Wow, is it possible?" Right? I'm a coach. Right now, I've never done this. In 1 week, I've not really practiced much. For me, 2 weeks was good time, good cadence, and this was like a surprise for me to learn. I went through this with one of the teams. Like I was sitting and watching. when this one of the very senior coaches was coaching, I was sitting and watching how this is happening, right? It was fantastic. The team will plan for 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes for 2.5 days. They'll pick some 2 or 3 stories maximum, or 4 stories, and they'll incrementally build that. End of or mid of Wednesday, they'll have a quick 15 minutes demo. They're done, they're out. They go for lunch, right? They come back, do retrospective, planning, second sprint starts. Friday evening, one more review, one more retrospective, day ends, leave for a day. Come back on Monday, this routine starts. So, a 6 weeks of window of 1.5 months in Agile Dojo, a team will execute 12 sprints, 12 iterations. It was wow, right? First time when I saw that, the team and the team, the way the seating arrangements were made, it was like a pure Agile workspace, right? Where the team is sitting in a whole space, environment where they can see each other, they can talk, they're not sitting in different tables, right? It was a true agility. Right, and there are also some norms, right? Some working agreements set with the team that the whole team will stay together throughout the day, right? Unless that somebody has to go for something, right? Otherwise the whole team will go together for lunch, come back, go for tea together. So that we want to build the team building as well. So it was a great thing. End of 2.5 days. The team was actually able to deliver the smallest piece and able to demonstrate, right? It was wow for me, great, right? I learned something great. I immediately wanted to practice this. So I got a chance to conduct a training for around 40 people, right? It's a very 2 days of Agile training. I think most of you would have gone through that. So I was conducting a training for a new set of people, and some of these are the potential teams for me to coach, right? And I was not sure which team will be that I'll be coaching. But I started conducting a training. There was one team sitting in the corner, and this team was not very active. In the first 1 hour, I could make out that they're kind of reluctant. So when I asked them, they said, "Oh, we know Agile, but I don't know why our manager made us sit here. We don't like sitting here for 2 days." I said, "Okay, great. Let's make an agreement. Till lunch, if you don't learn anything from me, don't come back. If I see the table empty, I believe you know Agile. You have not learned anything for the first 4 hours. Make sense?" They said yes. Went for lunch. Stayed for 4 hours, went for lunch. Post lunch, I came back, I saw them sitting there. Okay. So I confirmed with them that, hey, looks like you have learned something. Yes? They said yes. Okay, good. Stay back. And now I want you to go through the second half. But till end of the day, if you don't learn anything from me, that means you know Agile very well. Don't come back tomorrow morning. If I see your table empty, that means you know Agile, and I will make sure I'll tell your manager that your teams know. Okay, great. Second day, second half of the first day went. End of the day, we all left. We came back next day morning. I saw these guys were sitting there, right? A bunch of 7-8 people. End of 2 days, they told me that, JP, we learned so many things. We thought we know Agile, but we don't know really. Okay, great. Now I have an opportunity, right? You know what I did? I told them, guys, do you really want to learn through execution? You have learned theory, right? I taught you swimming in a theory class. Take a deep breath, hold your breath, jump into the water, exhale, come up, inhale, and go. All theory. You want to learn with me in practical? I'll be in the water. I'll make sure you learn swimming. You swim. They said yes. I signed them up for Agile Dojo, right? They came for 1.5 months that they will practice all that they learned, right? And plus they'll also build 1 or 2 more agenda, like they'll learn about unit test automation, right? They'll choose a tool and then start. End of the 1.5 months is that goal. Agile and Scrum thoroughly, right? Follow all the practices, right? Roles and processes, everything. And we'll also do unit test automation. And we'll at least have some basic automation set up before we leave in this 1.5 months. Okay, great. They came in. We started doing every 2.5 hours, every 2.5 days, we started doing a sprinting. And this team, trust me, they have done in 6 weeks, 12 sprints, 12 times planning, 12 times review, 12 times retrospective, right? And they thoroughly learned Agile, and in this journey they also learned how to build the smallest backlog, right? The backlog should be small enough that you're able to build in 2-3 days maximum, right? It was something that they learned how to write a user story, which is a small one. They learned how to do a retrospective in a 15 minutes or 20 minutes. They learned how to do review in 15-20 minutes, do a planning in 15-20 minutes. Everything was worked so well. When they went back after 1.5 months, this team was like super energetic, because they worked together as a team. They were working in one location facing each other, and there are a lot of physical boards kept. So much learning that they were super excited. Now it's not only they got excited, my mind got changed in this journey. I was a believer that maybe 2 week sprint is a good window, good cadence. 1 week is probably short. I actually changed my view from 2 weeks to even half a week. After that, every consulting company I go, I look at their business dynamics. If it is very critical for them to deliver fast, the backlog is not very clear for 2 weeks, things change in the middle. For whatever business reasons, if they need to have a shorter duration, I convince them and I put them at least in a 1 week sprint, right? Several teams I moved them in 1 week sprint. I have seen like 1 week iterations work so well, right? When there is a need, and the team is small, and the team has to deliver every week, and they have to practice this. Put them in 1 week sprint. You will see actually a good change. Now this team that they've gone through with me, like for 1.5 months, what was this iteration duration for them before coming in? 3 weeks. They were so convinced that we are actually a good agile team with 3 weeks of sprint. And then just after the training, we put them in Agile Dojo, half a week sprint. They were shocked. How is it possible? I told them, guys, you learned with me for 2 days, right? You learned. So you feel that you have something to learn. You have something to practice. Don't think too much, right? Let's remove this analysis paralysis. Let's just do 2.5 days sprint. Let's see what happens. End of 1.5 months, when I give them an option, if you want to choose half a week to 3 weeks window, right? You choose. I'm not going to influence you, because you are the right set of people. When I told them, they said, JP, half a week looks a little tight for us, but 3 weeks is too long. Okay, the same team which was actually practicing 3 weeks iteration for years, for at least 2-3 years, they said it is still too long. I think 1 week will suit for us. They moved to 1 week window, Wednesday to Tuesday, right? Start on Wednesday, end on Tuesday. Again Wednesday, Tuesday. And after 6 months also, I went and looked at them. I want to check how they are doing. They were actually doing good. They were very convinced. So if you want to test your ability to deliver value in a very short time, please try out this. Yeah, I have tried. My mind got changed because of this consulting engagement 8 years back, and after that I'm a different personality after that, right? Because I've learned so much from this particular thing, especially this Agile Dojo. Okay, hope this video was good for you, and have a great weekend. See you next week. Bye bye.